Hello, Austin. We are Hugo Girl from Atlanta, Georgia. Are you ready to rock?
Austin, we love you!
This is our first live/touring show, so that's exciting.
Ooh, touring show. I like
touring
that.
show.
That makes me feel less nervous for some reason.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Amy.
And I'm Lori.
And we are Hugo Girl, the podcast that reviews Hugo Award-winning books and sometimes nothing awarded anywhere movies.
Oh, contraire.
Oh, we'll get into
Yes.
that. Today we are here live at Armadillo Con 2025 in Austin, Texas. Haley could not be here, so I am Stunt Haley for this episode. Because we're
You
in...
sound just like her.
Yeah, it's close. Because we're in Texas, Amy suggested recording an episode on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Which is
Two.
I thought you suggested one.
Oh, I did suggest
You suggested one,
Yeah.
which is a great idea, but I thought that, that's a classic, universally acknowledged. What do we say about that?
It's a truth universally acknowledged that...
And so I thought, why not do part two, which is a little more of an underdog and was actually shot right here in Austin in 1986, so it relates. Anything else to add before we...
Oh, God, I'm not in charge. You're in charge.
I mean, I can tell you about the context of the award.
Oh, yeah.
That it
what's the
received.
award? Amy, tell us.
Well, the motion picture itself did not receive an award, but Caroline Williams won Best Actress for her portrayal of Stretch at the 19th International Film Festival of Catalonia,
Oh.
which I thought was fun because Blue Velvet won Best Picture at that same award ceremony, which featured Dennis Hopper, which is amazing.
Yes.
The fact that he did both these movies at the same time is fantastic.
Yeah, 1986 was a year for Dennis Hopper.
It was a real year. He had a real year.
Okay, so jump right into the plot summary. The plot is set up with an opening crawl. It has been 13 years since the events of the first film. Sally Hardesty, the lone survivor of the first movie, has reported what happened, but police couldn't find any evidence and the case was closed. However, reports of chainsaw murders throughout Texas continued. The film opens on two high school yuppies driving their Mercedes to the Texas
Hook 'em horns!
OSU football game in Dallas. While driving, they called a request line for K-Okla, where DJ Stretch seems to be the only DJ in Burke Burnett, Texas. The teens play chicken with a pickup truck, running it off the road. Shortly thereafter, they meet that same truck again on a bridge. Leatherface pops out of the bed holding a chainsaw and the corpse of Nubbins, the hitchhiker from the first movie, menacing and eventually killing both teens while they speed down the world's longest bridge. This is all captured on tape by Stretch because the two yuppie kids have again called into the radio station, and for some reason the station cannot disconnect the call.
They have to hang up. Why did they have to hang up?
I don't remember that. Do both sides have to hang up the phone?
Hang
in
up,
1986?
So I looked that up. There were similar things to like party lines, like if you're on a party.
Oh, that's why she was doing the
So-
switches? Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know if it was that, but there were like other things where, the caller, there's a name for it, where only the caller can disconnect the call. I don't know if that was just accepted as a thing in the mid-'80s and you weren't supposed to
Then
question
later
it.
he techno-babbles in some way to indicate that he, in fact, was able to hang up on them.
Well, I think he was just joking,
Oh,
because they hung up because they died.
I don't understand humor, so...
Oh. Well, that was fun, 'cause he was like, I just short-circuited the contrafabulator, and she gives him a look, and he's like, I don't know. Let's see, and again, okay, so the call cannot be disconnected, and apparently there's an FCC regulation that all calls have to be recorded. Again, don't know if this is true or not.
All radio station calls?
That's what she said. I
Did
don't
I
know.
watch this movie?
There's a lot of references to FCC that may or may
So-
not be right.
After this introduction, we meet Lefty Enright, played by Dennis Hopper, the uncle of Sally and Franklin from the first film, and apparently a former Texas Ranger who has made it his mission to find the people responsible for Franklin's death. It turns out that the Sawyers, the killer cannibal chainsaw family, are in town for the chili cook-off at the Texas OSU game. Stretch plays the recording of the killing on the radio at Lefty's insistence, putting her on the Sawyers' radar. Leatherface and Chop Top come for Stretch. Stretch and Lefty go after the Sawyers in their lair under an abandoned amusement park that looks like an antique store exploded and was then strewn with string lights, and chaos ensues. Your enjoyment of the film will depend on how excited you get hearing the phrase Dennis Hopper chainsaw battle.
Burn it down.
Okay. So instead of goodies from Goodreads, we have our letters from Letterboxd. Film was not well received, but has become a cult classic, especially in light of the other 7 films in the series that were much, much worse. Definitely makes this one look better in retrospect. So I have 2 reviews, a 3.5-star Letterboxd review from Bo69, which says, "So dumb but so lit. Leatherface mad horny."
Is that the whole review?
That's the whole review.
A lot of people were real pumped about Leatherface being horny.
And then a 1.5-star Letterboxd review from Ethan Bunnell, which says, "Maybe it's the point, and I think I understood why people like it, but I did just find it extremely distasteful and hard to watch. Dennis Hopper used all of his good acting up on his 2 all-time roles from this year." Now,
I hard disagree with that.
I like to think he's acknowledging that Lefty is one of the 2 all-time roles from 1986. But Hopper was also in Blue Velvet, as you mentioned, Hoosiers, and River's Edge in '86. So
Hoosiers.
he's probably referring to one of those, but I think,
Hoosiers.
personally, Lefty is an all-time Dennis Hopper role.
Oh, 100%.
So
Yeah.
those are my 2.
So I have a 2.5-star review from Matthew Christman, who starts off with a quote that is funny but did not age well. Quote from the movie, "The small businessman takes it in the ass every time." And then Matthew goes on to say, "All the things that don't work in this movie, such as Stretch and Lefty's relationship, Stretch and Leatherface's relationship, the plot, the middle 40 minutes, are almost made up for by the inspired movie logic that since the Sawyers used chainsaws, then the lawman fighting them also has to use chainsaws."
I focused on the people who loved it because they love it in really delightful ways. And Vera Drew gave it 5 stars, and she said, "The saccharine wholesomeness in all of the characters is the most disturbing thing about this for me. It's like getting a creepy long hug." That was pretty great. And I think, as a Georgia fan, I liked to focus on the ones that talked about Texas fans. But
There may be some in the room, so please go carefully.
Listen, everybody likes what they like. But Abandoned Chimp, who gave it 4 stars, says, "Nothing says Texas football tailgate like human barbecue croissant sandwiches." But my very favorite review, which is delightful if you've seen the film, is Stealthy Debs, who gave it 5 stars and said, "Prepping myself to go see Barbie in a couple hours."
Okay, so I think we can move on to general discussion.
Let's do it.
So I think this is an interesting movie because it was such a long time after, and I should have looked for other movies who've had such a big gap between the movie and the sequel. I guess Top Gun was a long time, but this was 12 years between the original movie in 1974 and the sequel in '86, and I get, so apparently they re-released the original movie. It did really well, and I think it's kind of, the story differs on whether the studio insisted on a sequel or Hooper wanted to do a sequel.
Not to be confused with Hopper, which I kept doing.
No. Yes, Toby Hooper, not Dennis Hopper.
Right.
And for the longest time, I'd only ever read his name, Toby Hooper, and it's Tobe, and I just assumed it was Tobe.
You can call him Tobe if you want to.
No, it's Toby. So yeah, the first time I saw behind the scenes about the first film, I was like, oh, I'm wrong. That was dumb. So Hooper started developing a sequel, and he was apparently a little upset that people did not get all of the humor he put into the first film.
I did
So
not.
he was like,
Yeah.
"And we'll be shoving it down your throat."
Yeah. And so he wanted to make this more humorous and dark comedy, of course. And I think everything ended up getting amped up. The humor, the gore, the ridiculousness, the political situation, and we'll get into all of that. And he didn't want to direct it at first, but couldn't find anyone he trusted to, so he took on the direction. Oh yeah, and so as far as the comedy, I think you know what you're getting into when you see the original poster, which is a parody of the Breakfast Club poster. I always loved that. As far as the gore, it's definitely interesting because people, assume the first movie is going to be a graphic gore fest, and it really is not. There's barely any blood in it even, but...
I was just gonna, when you said that he didn't trust anyone to direct it, I'm just kind of thinking about the finished product and thinking, this is my child, I can't trust another person with this movie about people winning a chili cook-off with body parts.
One thing I saw that was interesting was that someone said he was like, he knew what would happen to it, and so he decided to do it himself instead of letting somebody else take his original movie to this place. He was like, no, I will do it. If that's what's going to happen, then it'll be me. And someone else was like, this is a really good example of the difference between 70s horror movies and 80s horror movies, because, you know, the first one was so far ahead of or so much earlier than the second one. It's like cerebral 70s horror movies, and now campy gore fest, which is...
Yeah.
I think a really interesting way of looking at it too. It's like, this is where horror's going. It's like, well, this is where horror's going, then that's what we'll do. Like,
fair.
And it's also kind of similar to Evil Dead, where the first Evil Dead is not cerebral, but it is definitely a mostly serious horror movie with some comedic elements, but mostly horror. And then the second one goes for campy gore fest.
Yep.
So
That's a good point.
yeah. And it also made me think of the Alien franchise, where the first one is a serious claustrophobic horror movie, and the sequel is not a comedy, but it goes all in on amping up the action elements and kind of takes it into a different genre. And Aliens also came out in 1986, so I don't know if that just says something about the filmmaking in the mid-'80s, or...
Sign of the times.
Sign of the times.
Take the things that worked from your first movie and just amp it up way too far, and then end up with something kind of ridiculous.
And
Except for profit.
Yeah. The other interesting thing about the development of the movie is it was written, I guess, co-written by L.M. Kit Carson, who before this was best known for doing the American remake of Jean-Luc Godard's Breathless, and for writing Wim Wenders' Paris, Texas, which is a
so different,
very different movie. And I'd kind of wondered about that, and I popped on the Texas Chainsaw documentary. I didn't get very far into it, but Carson actually said, I wrote these two artsy movies that really put me on the radar of, you know, quote unquote cinema. And then he said to himself, what can I do to get off that radar? And so he did Texas Chainsaw 2 when Hooper came to him about it. But
he was like, write what you know.
You know, I think it's interesting but Paris, Texas and Texas Chainsaw 2 are still both about family dynamics and kind of fractured families, just in very different ways.
I would argue the Sawyer family is not fractured. That's
true.
a very cohesive family, because as you know, the Saw is family.
That's true.
As we learned in the movie.
And they have their grandmother's desiccated corpse.
Grandma went to Saw heaven.
In a place of honor.
Grandma went to Saw heaven.
So yeah, not a fractured family.
That's right. So I would challenge you. I would push back on that, Kevin.
That's a good point. So I'd just say family dynamics in general.
Okay.
There we go.
Now, is it a healthy family? No. Have they modeled successful relationships? Also no.
I mean, they seem to like each other.
They do seem to like each other.
They seem
Dog is gonna hunt.
Have a shared interest in chainsaw massacring. It's good to have a family that has
they have a family business. Family business.
Small business. That's really
small
what this
businessman.
So I have traditionally been not interested in watching horror until probably like the past couple of years. I was more amenable to it because I like the what I like to call the Sarah Marshall expanded universe of podcasts. So if anybody's listened to You're Wrong About or You Are Good, which is specifically about movies, she's co-host of both of those, and she's really into horror, and she's very smart and very feminist, and she it has a particular affection for the Saw movies, which I'm not there yet. But she says that all American horror is about economic insecurity. And once she said that, and I started watching like even goofy slasher films with that in mind, you really see it, and it is all over this movie. So I think it's subtle in the first movie, and I'm parroting what she said about the first movie, where you have this town that's centered around a slaughterhouse, and the slaughterhouse is the economic engine of the town. And then once it becomes automated and everybody loses their jobs, what are they supposed to do with themselves? So you have this family that really knows how to do one thing, and for generations has sustained itself by doing one thing, which is killing, cows normally. But they just keep doing what they've always known and what they've always done. It's the only thing really left for them to do, and it's how they survive. And so that's like a very smart analysis of the first movie. And then you get to the second movie, and they take that and pretty much put it right in front of your face when they're talking about the family business, the small
it's like
business.
Grandpa got driven to this because he worked at this rendering company, and then they automated his job, and now see what it's led us to become.
So if you miss it in the first movie, then
it's really in the
it's
second.
right there in the second movie. They're like, by the way, here's
Which
what
is
this
true
is
for
about.
every element of the film.
Yes.
Yes.
So I love watching horror for that now. I think it's in most horror movies, even the really goofy ones.
I like that the first movie is kind of subtle about the meat industry and maybe vegetarianism and,
So I wrote down at some point, is this vegetarian propaganda?
and Vietnam. And so the first movie is kind of made in the aftermath of the Vietnam War, so it's maybe not directly addressing it. And then in the second movie, we have Chop Top, who is actually a Vietnam veteran.
He's like, nom.
Keeps having.
Is he called Chop Top in the first movie? Do we get these names in the
he's not
second
in the
movie?
He's not in the first movie because he was in.
He was in
I think he was in
Vietnam.
Vietnam in the first movie.
Okay.
Other siblings show up later, too, like in the other movies.
Yeah.
Like, this family is large and complicated.
Not fractured.
Oh, yeah.
Not fractured.
Well, so that's what actually. I'm skipping around a lot here, but what I was going to
That's what
say
happens, Kevin.
about the family dynamic is something kind of you two were saying is thinking the cook, Drayton, is the father.
Oh, I looked this up after we talked about it. Go ahead.
But he's actually the brother. So as far as the family dynamic is that even though he's the older brother, he has kind of had to take over the patriarchal role.
The parentified oldest child.
I think
Tell me more about that.
I think he actually might be both. I think he might be their father and their brother.
Okay.
Because of something that comes up later when they talk about his sister Vera.
Oh dear.
So I think everybody's right.
Everybody's right.
That's giving that episode of X-Files that only aired once home.
Yeah.
Oh.
Nope. Mhm.
Nope.
That's what they kind of made me think of, this family.
Yeah. So jumping back to Vietnam and Chop Top, I thought it was interesting that he was injured in Vietnam. It has the metal plate in his head.
Lick my plate.
Yeah.
He says that a lot.
Just occurred to me that's also a eating phrase.
Lick
the plate clean.
Lick my plate.
Ew.
And actually, in
I wish
that
I didn't say that.
in that particular scene where he says that is probably how most people know the movie, even if they don't know it's from this movie. If they played Tony Hawk Pro Skater or listened to alternative radio in the
did one of those two
90s
things.
and heard the Primus song "Jerry Was a Race Car Driver," they sample Chop Top going "Dog Will Hunt."
Amazing.
But yeah, I thought it was interesting. There was a specific conversation. It's kind of in the background, so it was hard to hear, but a conversation about Chop Top getting his injury in Vietnam and somehow getting government compensation for that, and that's what they used to fund the family food truck business.
I don't know, that sounds like socialism to me.
It does. And so there are kind of two interesting things to me that came out of that is Chop Top himself dresses like a hippie, has the peace buttons, has his Sonny Bono wig. And so I kind of considered him a satirical example of either how 60s hippies kind of turned into the 80s me generation Wall Street profiteers. Like he goes from being a hippie to literally chopping people up and eating them.
Oh, like our friend. Oh no. On my tote bag, the man on my tote bag, who's a Wall Street bro, and he killed American Psycho.
Patrick
Psycho.
Bateman.
Oh yeah, American Psycho.
Yeah, either that or just in general kind of how Vietnam kind of destroyed the love generation and hippies, and Vietnam itself kind of led to the Me First 80s and Reaganism and all of that.
So you view him as a former hippie? So I actually wondered if all of those pins on his vest were trophies from like hippie hitchhikers that they picked up, and then he takes a pin off of them and puts it on his
What
puts it on his vest.
if he just really likes eating people?
Yeah, maybe
could.
these people just maybe there isn't a reason.
No.
Or he's got
They're
that
just delicious.
Maybe he's got that PTSD.
I'm quite sure. Yeah, and he talks about early in the movie, doesn't Leatherface hits him with his axe, or his chainsaw, excuse me,
Chainsaw.
Axe. I'm sorry, everybody.
That's a different
I'll just
franchise
go.
altogether.
And he says he's going to have to go back to the VA hospital to get his plate checked, and I think that was the first time I heard him make a reference to Vietnam, and I was like, oh, what's going on here? There's our economic anxiety going on right there. What else?
So continuing the political messaging, I think it was interesting how it sort of almost predicted hustle culture, and in that they had to turn their hobby of making human barbecue because before
They had to monetize
The
their
side
hobby.
hustle that they had to monetize.
Drayton just had his little stand in this little gas station that no one visited, and then all of a sudden they have to turn this hobby into making human barbecue. They have their chili food truck, which is all he thinks about. Like I thought it was.
It's food truck.
I thought it was funny when Stretch and Lefty get into their underground lair. He just thinks that they're sent by competitors to bring down his food truck. And when
Secret shoppers or whatever.
yeah, well, and when Lefty gets down there and says, "I am the Lord of the Harvest," which is a great way to introduce herself.
The Lord of the Harvest.
And Drayton replies, "What's that? One of those health food concerns or something like that?" He just still thinks it's another food truck
One of those health food
sending a guy with a chainsaw to come destroy him.
The lawman with the chainsaw.
Yeah.
I mean, everything Lefty says when he's down in the lair is gold.
So Lefty, let's talk about Lefty.
Let's talk about Lefty.
So first of all, he doesn't want Stretch's tape of this murder that he's investigating. Why?
Oh yeah, so he's like, let's put a call out for witnesses.
And then she's like, I'm a witness.
comes to his doorstep and he says, no thank you.
Yeah, he's like,
girl,
I'm not
Missy.
interested in
He's
your
calling her
evidence.
Missy.
Well, then he's like, never mind, I am interested in your evidence. I want you to play it over the radio, which of course provokes the family to go and, try to kill her and get the tape. And that's why we have a movie. So, that's why all
I
that
just don't
happened.
think his investigation was well thought out.
Well, I think so. Yeah, he has her do this, and I keep going, "Where's Lefty? Where's Lefty?" And then once they get down in their ramshackle antique dungeon under the playground or museum or whatever it was, and she's down there, she's been kidnapped, she's wearing her friend's face, it's a whole thing. And then Lefty finally gets there and he's like, I used you as bait, girl. And it's like, well, yeah, but you could have waited at the radio station to help
says
her.
that he used her as bait?
He's like, I'm sorry, I used you as bait. He did it on purpose to flush them out. But I was like, but sir, you could have hidden behind the radio station so that the other guy, LG, wouldn't have been murdered and she wouldn't be wearing his face and she wouldn't have to be
So the
Leatherface's
real
girlfriend.
murderer-
We wouldn't have a movie.
The real
so I do
murderer
all
is
this
Lefty.
complaining, but we wouldn't have a movie. But yeah, he is really bad at his job.
Yeah, well, I think maybe if she knew she was the bait, she wouldn't be effective bait. Maybe that's the
I'm just
problem.
saying he should have been there to be on scene.
She does keep yelling that he's late.
Yes.
So, and he was late. I don't understand. Like, they were both down there. He knows she's down there. Instead of making any effort at all to rescue her, he just starts sawing the support beams.
A couple times
To bring
he
it all
actually
down?
traps her with them.
And he's like right around the corner, and
Yeah.
she's like, ah!
And she's
he's
like, oh
just
no, and he's like,
"Ah!"
and all the rocks cave in, and it's like, well, thank God she's trapped on this side and you're on this side.
Yeah, Lefty, bad investigation partner.
I like how he's trying to bring it all down because he keeps shouting,
Bring it all down!
"Bring it all down!"
One thing about this movie is it doesn't make you guess.
It is not subtle, no.
No, we always know exactly where we stand.
I think a good example of that is, and I don't know if it's a criticism of Texas itself, the founding of the state, is when he first gets into Texas Battleland. There's a bleeding mural of I guess. I didn't really see what the battle was,
I'm
but
assuming
a
it's like
Texas battle.
I think it's a ranger battle. Like, it's
Yeah.
probably Texas Rangers and the Native American.
Yeah, kind of the founding of
Yeah.
Texas, kicking out the indigenous
yeah.
people, and the mural itself is bleeding, and then he kicks it,
just
and just
guts.
thousands of pounds of intestines just spill out, and there's no reason to have.
Every small business has an intestines wall.
That's true,
I don't know what you're complaining
there's
about.
there's no reason to have intestines back there aside from making a very obvious point.
Well, you have to keep your offal somewhere.
It's true.
What? Okay, on the subject of awful, how many people are all of the skeletons in their lair people they have killed?
There are so many.
There are so
It is
many.
a good
It's the
question because-
population of Texas down there.
Do they live there or do they travel around?
Yes.
Because it looks like they have been living there and
Well, roughly 12 years.
doing business now. Well, but they have their food truck. I kind of thought they were transient because doesn't the crawl at the beginning say there have been pockets of chainsaw murders
There's a
around
lot
Texas?
of
Maybe
decor
that's their
down
home
there.
base.
There's so much
Yeah.
decor down there.
There's no way that's a temporary residence.
I think they travel around in that Auga truck that they have.
Did you say Auga truck?
Yeah, Auga.
Okay.
You know what I mean. You know what I mean. They travel around in their Auga truck picking up strays, I guess, and cooking them.
Hippies, yuppies.
Yeah. But I couldn't tell if all the skeletons down there were supposed to be from this battle or if they were actually people that the Sawyer family has consumed.
I mean, a little from column A, a little from column B, probably.
I guess, but the decor. Can we talk about the decor?
Let's talk about it.
Down there, I was so impressed. It's like
They made it very homey.
they made it very homey. There's a lot of lamps. They love an indirect lighting. There's no overhead
big
lighting, which I
light.
really appreciated. No big light. The posing of the skeletons was also really exciting to me. Did you note the one that was sitting on a bomb with his cowboy hat in the air like Dr. Strangelove? It was incredible. There's also like little scenes of people at the beach.
It all feels very intentional, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, and my internal lore is that Leatherface did all of that because Leatherface is adorable in this movie.
He definitely seems to be the most thoughtful, the most domestic.
Listen, I think he is. All he wants is love.
Yeah.
He's trying to make their house a home.
Yes, he's got this toxic relationship with Stretch, but it's the best he can do in his current situation. He's wearing somebody's face. It's hard to find love when you're wearing somebody else's face.
Do we know whose face he wears? Does it change? What's the lore around Leatherface's Leatherface?
He definitely has different masks. Like in the first one, there's the mask he wears when he's doing his killing at the beginning, and it's very just like gnarly and stitched together. And then for dinner, he puts on a different
dinner
mask,
face.
his dinner
Dinner
mask,
face.
with and does the makeup on
This
it
is-
and everything.
This is masking representation.
Oh,
That's what this is. This is neurodivergent masking
there's a
representation.
lot going on.
There's a lot going
Although,
on.
until we watched the 4K scan of it, I think I didn't notice that in this movie, one of the segments of his face has like a beard, so it's like very obviously stitched. Like it's got like half a beard in one corner of his face. It's like very obviously
Lynxmen will
stitched
missed
together
that.
from different people. Yeah,
Must have been when I was taking notes.
must be.
I tried to pay really close attention. This movie was gross, though. This movie genuinely grossed me
Well, I
out.
was going to ask if the gore. So awful. Also, speaking of awful,
Awful is organs, right?
OFFAL.
awful is like- It's like giblets.
Yes.
Yeah? Okay.
Awful. Were you grossed out? I was going to
Yeah, I
pose that question to the room.
And I, as part of my watching horror movies journey, I've come to realize most of these older movies, the effects are like very obviously, they're not that great, and so they don't bother me, and I can usually watch them. But this movie, I'd say for the most part, my head is off to Tom Savini. It was gross.
The only time I really got, like, it was gross, but the only time I felt squeamish, like actively physically a little ill, when Leatherface took the face off of LG
Yep.
and put it onto Stretch.
Me too. I was like, oh.
And she's like, it's wet!
And then a few
and
seconds
he's like
later-
squishing it onto her face to make it fit back.
Yeah.
So gross.
It makes squishy noises. Yes, same. My stomach did not like that. And I had thought, because I had never seen this movie before, like a week ago, I was like, I'm going to try to watch it twice so that I really remember it. And then after we watched it, I was like, I ain't watching that again.
I mean, some of the other stuff in it was just comical.
Yeah, for sure, but
Like, it
there
didn't
were-
really gross me out, but for some reason, that scene.
There were a couple of scenes that were gross
Then
enough
she
to me where I
puts-
was not willing to rewatch.
Well, then that face goes through a lot, because then she wears it for a while, and then she puts it back
gets it
onto
back.
LG.
Yeah,
So he
she
could
gives it
die with
back.
his own face. Ugh.
I'm sure that brought him comfort in his final moments.
I hope you guys would do that for me.
Put your face back on your face? Absolutely.
Make sure I die with my own face.
Is it okay if I wore it first? Can I borrow it?
Yeah. My face is your face.
And if it has your hair, I can find out if blondes really do have more fun, and then I'll put it back on you.
The hair stayed on LG, right? He kept all his...
I think there was...
Did he keep all his original
someone's hair? They put some... Was it a hat? Something went on.
Well, Chop Chop loses his Sonny Bono wig. Maybe you're thinking about that.
Yeah, when I don't know if Leatherface is trying to hide her or something, but he puts the face on her, and then he takes LG's cowboy hat and puts it on.
Cowboy
it's
hat.
the hat.
Is it a cowboy hat that has like a mullet attached, like when people wear those baseball caps that have a mullet attached? You know what I'm talking about?
If it wasn't, it should be.
Should be.
How are we doing
LG.
on time?
Can we talk about LG?
Yeah, let's do it.
I like that you only always knew it was LG because he was spitting on something.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciated that. I felt like it was a comment on how much men spit. Because men spit a lot. Or at least they did in my youth. Do they still
Hashtag
spit?
not all men, but I do see. I'll put it this way: I have never seen someone who is not a man just spitting on a sidewalk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming everybody has all the same
Present
amount
company, though, I am sure no one in here spits on the sidewalk.
I just feel like everybody has the same amount of spit, but for some reason, some people are taught to keep it in their bodies, and
Maybe
other
he
people
was
are told
doing-
that's not important.
It would be consistent with the character and culture if he chews tobacco or something, so maybe he has extra.
He spit on the floor of their
He
workplace.
did not have a spit cup.
Yeah, he was just spitting.
He was just spitting.
People are more polite when they're actually dipping.
Yeah.
Instead of soap stuff, we have spit stuff in this episode.
But it was hilarious that, when his face is missing and he wakes up, that she knew it was him because he woke up and spit.
Right. He was like, "What?" He's like, "I guess I'm falling apart on you," while his ribs are all out and his face is on somebody else.
Oh, man.
It was great. And then, I have a lot to say about LG. Oh, LG. He built her a fry house, a French.
Oh, that's
like I
what-
built
have
you a
that in
little
my
French
fantastical
fry.
food.
Yeah.
Don't scoop my
Okay, I'm
fantastical
sorry,
foods, please.
Sorry.
Should we move on to our segments?
I have so much more to say. I wanted to talk about all the
Let's
good lines.
do it.
So many good lines in this movie.
Yeah.
I think Grandma's in Chainsaw Heaven and I'm Falling Apart on You are my two favorites, I think. Bring it all down. Bring it all down. You shouldn't have done that from Lefty. So someone mentions, what was the quote? Lefty confronting the cannibalistic Sawyers who killed his nephew and saying, "You guys shouldn't have been doing that." You guys shouldn't have been doing that.
Tisk.
And then, like, the humor in this movie, like, one of my favorite, I think the Cut-Right chainsaw store manager is one of the gems in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
He is so good. He's, like, watching Lefty. So Lefty buys these chainsaws, and Lefty's going to town on this log.
Trying to.
And, like, the manager of the Cut-Right chainsaw store is just like, he's like, "Oh, my aching banana." When he's watching him do that. Which is incredible. And then the lawyer butchering scene. Did you guys catch this? They're butchering some lawyers that they caught at one point, and they're using legal babble speak while they're talking about them, and they start saying corpus delicti, which is the funniest thing I've ever heard. And then they
Blacked out during that scene. I have no idea.
it was so
Where
funny.
Did they capture the lawyers?
Who can say? Maybe they were at the Texas game. I don't know. Yeah. Stuff in this movie is just delightful.
It is very funny.
I think my favorite line is, at least one of them is when Drayton catches Stretch in the lair and realizes that Leatherface has a thing for her, and he's like, "You have to choose between," he's like, "How do you find out about sex? You have to choose." And he says, "Sex is, well, no one knows, but the saw is family."
I also really like the idea. So he talks about this barbecue croissant sandwiches that he's taking to the tailgate. And I really like the idea that Drayton Sawyer can bake a nice croissant
Good for him.
in some kitchen that exists somewhere that we never
his food
see,
truck.
I guess. I don't know.
Could be doing it in
I
his
bet he's
food
good
truck.
at what he does, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, he has a lot of practice.
Oh, and one of my favorite bits of trivia about the movie was that when they were filming it, the building that they were filming in caught fire. And the firemen come to put out the fire, and they find all these bones. And they weren't sure if they stumbled upon, like, if people died in a fire, or if this was some sort of Ed Gaines
Abattoir.
butcher lair.
Oh my God.
That was amazing. That these bones fooled the firemen. Okay, I guess that's it.
So I think the only other things I had that we didn't really get to cover are found it was interesting that, like you mentioned, Hopper was in Blue Velvet the same
Oh,
year.
the pedigree of the people in this movie is incredible.
And this is, in some ways, kind of a Lynchian take on the story. More like a Twin Peaks or Wild at Heart kind of exaggerated fantasy kind of way than dark and disturbing. Like their underground lair, like it makes no sense that they would have this decorated lair, but it's just weird. And
it's a functioning roadside attraction, right? Because in the beginning of the movie, the dude with the gun and the glasses shoots the sign for this.
I was wondering if it was like
attraction.
a defunct roadside attraction.
Yeah, I think it said like closed, and when he shoots it, like the closed part falls off.
Okay.
But that actually was a real amusement park near here that only operated for like 6 months or something, and it was the Matterhorn, which is why it's Texas Battle Land in the movie, yet there's a giant alpine mountain. Because they used what they could. So yeah, it's kind of Lynchian. My specific example was when Drayton wins the chili cook-off, and they dump ladles of chili in the top of the trophy, and he just stands there while chili is sloshing all over his jacket. And then later, the trophy is just like sitting in the passenger seat of the food truck while he's driving away with the chili still sloshing around.
"Number one, I'm number one." Yeah. I was like, we should all drive around saying, "I'm number one," just all the time.
Get you a trophy full of chili.
And he has a car phone. I want to know how he's paying the bill for the car phone. Yeah. Those car phones were expensive.
Did they steal the car phone from the two yuppies? They had a car phone.
I bet they did.
That's their trophy from those.
I bet they did. And that bill was paid up so they could use it for a while.
And I thought the car phone, again with the everything is about economic anxiety. In 1986, if you had a phone in your car, those two had it coming.
Yeah,
driving around being richy rich and hassling people, drunk driving. I didn't feel bad about that.
I didn't feel bad about that at all.
To be sandwiches.
And that first guy with the car phone had the worst Southern accent I have ever heard. And I've heard a lot of bad ones.
Yeah. And then kind of my last thing was it's very conspicuously set during the Texas OSU game.
Red River Shootout, baby.
And, Drayton says, "I love this town. This town loves prime meat." So I wondered if that was a comment on the exploitation of football players, or if I'm just reading too much into that.
Yeah, I think in 1986, I don't know. I think you're giving it a lot of credit.
It carries that connotation now, but maybe not then.
I was just trying, because it is very conspicuously set during the game day or game weekend, so I just kind of wondered why that was.
Maybe.
Or if it's just like Texas.
I think it was more like Texas, a comment on Texas.
Football culture?
No, Texas is like food. Full stop.
Okay.
Segments?
Okay.
Let's do it.
Feminist fave.
I have when LG called Stretch darling, and she goes, "Don't call me darling, damn it." And I liked that. That was an early moment. And I guess it's like not dramatically feminist, but I appreciated that in 1986 we see a woman at work objecting to being called darling by her co-worker. I don't know.
Well, she does admit that she's in love with him, so I won't skip ahead though. Generally the movie depicted the men who were scamming on her as shitty.
Yeah, and she's quite capable.
I appreciate that.
I mean, Lefty leaves her, basically. Lefty gets her into this predicament, and she survives, so...
She sure does. That was one of my favorite feminist favors, is she kicks the shit out of Chop Top. And then she ends up with a chainsaw at the end, just like...
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of mine. Not necessarily feminist, but in contrast with the first one where Sally is more of a passive final girl. And I mean, she's, strong and survives and leaps out the window and runs away. And this one... Stretch at least more takes the lead, like when she's like, "Oh, Lefty, you're late," she doesn't just wait around for him, she goes off after the Sawyers and tries to
dope Jeep and tries
to figure it out
she
herself.
follows them. Listen, she gets in the car, they're leaving the radio station, and she's like, "No, they can't get away." I was like, "Yes, they can. Yes, they can."
Girl, get back in that radio station.
Do not follow them to their lair. Yeah, but she fights through that whole movie, and that's pretty cool.
She sure does. Does she bring some of the horror down on herself by following them? Yes, she does. Does she get herself out of that predicament that she created? Also, yes.
Also, she's trying to protect the public. I respect that. I wouldn't make that choice, but I respect her.
Weirdly, one of my feminist favorites was when she asks Leatherface if he's mad at her. when he's about, like... you know, they've had this on again, off again all during the movie. And at one point,
won't they?
she's like, please save me. And he's like, chainsaw? And she's like, are you mad at me? And I was like, you know what? I'm glad he recognizes that women say this when it's inappropriate. When nothing is her fault.
No, I think, I liked that because I think she was, using that kind of thing to get sympathy.
She was weaponizing a lot of
She
femininity.
absolutely was.
With the whole how good are you scene.
I think she protected herself with all of those things.
Yeah, the how good are you scene with the bathtub and the...
Yeah,
and the whatever. I waffled between whether that was like how I felt about that.
I know.
Yeah.
When I was watching it, I was like, I don't know what to make of this. I'm just not going to think about it. But I do appreciate that she did what she needed to do.
I just want to know why there was an open cooler of a lot of ice and soft drinks in the radio station.
Why do you keep stealing my fantastical food segment?
All right, next segment.
No one's allowed to talk about any food.
Okay, misogynist moment.
It wasn't that misogynist. I think that mine. What made me the maddest was when she said she was in love with LG. I was like, we don't need her to be in love with LG. Why does she say that? He's not someone that she made any indication that she loved at any point in the movie. So it's like,
Well, I didn't take that as romantic love. I took that as like kind of like best friend.
Because
Like,
she just said, I love
she
you.
didn't say
or
I
I
know.
love.
Yeah, she's just like,
okay.
I just assumed that it meant that they had been friends for a long time and she wore his face and,
yeah.
Well,
he's dying.
And at that point, they had trauma bonded, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel
All
like
right. I didn't really have a misogynist moment in this movie, to be honest with you.
mine was when
Which
Lefty,
was surprising.
when Lefty dismisses her at the beginning, which of course, then the movie goes on to pretty much criticize him for
And
that,
keeps calling her Missy.
But yeah, when she goes to him and she's like, you said you wanted evidence. I have evidence. And he's like, get out of here, Missy. And I was like, sir, he was position.
He was 3 sheets on tequila at that point, too, so.
He was.
yeah.
He was. We never grapple with his drinking problem.
We sure don't, but I like the idea that he was completely drunk through the whole movie, which makes his actions make a lot more sense.
Yeah.
So.
Boob talk?
I don't have any boob talk in this movie. This movie did a pretty good job of, other than the how good are you kind of thing, this movie does a pretty good job of not objectifying her.
I know.
That was surprising.
Kudos, Tobe.
Oh, and I would like, maybe we can substitute this for a fashion corner. She is head to toe in denim. She's wearing a chambray shirt that's bejeweled on the collar and the pockets. She's wearing denim shorts. She's wearing denim boots.
The girl's committed.
Jutes, if you will.
Jutes.
Jean boots.
I want to be the type of person who could own denim boots and wear and rock them, but I don't know if I'm that kind of person.
Yeah, I mean, she basically saved her own life
In denim boots. In
denim
jutes.
boots.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the only boobs at all are at the beginning when Rick the Prick says they're going to Dallas for Bright Lights, Big Titties.
That's right. Bright's like big titties. You want me to play Bright Lights, Big Titties? No, I want to see them.
Oh, I missed that too. I guess I do have to watch this again. Oh.
He's like shooting signs with apparently a gun that never runs out of bullets, and he's like, titties.
Would you like to do your fantastical food?
Is there any left? I'm sorry.
I have, okay, so the low-hanging fruit is the chili made out of people.
It's people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which made me think of fried green tomatoes. Remember how they,
Oh, don't skip ahead.
What?
Now you're scooping my later segment.
Oh, okay. Never mind. No one cooks and eats a man in fried green tomatoes. I don't know what anybody's talking about. So the French fry log cabin was the first thing that I took down. I thought it was so funny when he's
I made you a little French fry.
LG is waiting for Stretch to get to the chili cook-off, and this scene that's Lynchian too.
Yeah.
Because the foreground is like this close-up, but I think you could miss it because you almost wouldn't be looking at something so close like that. But it's a whole log cabin built out of French fries, and then when Stretch gets there, he's like, "I made you a
French fry house or something."
Looky, built you a little fry house.
Built you a little fry house.
How come you've never built me a fry house, Kevin?
Well, never had that. That was a lot of fries.
It was a lot of fries. No one's ever built me a fry house. Maybe someday. obviously the chili. Oh, and so the soft drinks, you said there was the tub of soft drinks. It was Mountain Dew. It was just like a ton of Mountain Dew.
And so much ice. And there's
so
only
much-
2 people that work there.
2 people work there. It's an open tub full of ice and so much Mountain Dew. I mean, is that product placement? Like, what was going on?
I didn't actually come away with the understanding that it was Mountain Dew. I thought it was like Fanta.
It was conspicuously Mountain Dew.
I didn't catch that. So yes, I would guess product placement then. Then it gets sawed in half by
Texas Chainsaw
Leatherface.
Massacre 2, brought to you by Mountain Dew.
Oh, speaking of that scene, the other looping back again where other place people who might not have seen it might be familiar with is in the Tom Hanks movie The Burbs. When he falls asleep watching horror movies, the thing he wakes up to is Leatherface sawing through the wall to get to Stretch in that scene.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
fun.
I had a note about the impact of this film going forward, and like, because I wanted to look more into that and talk about it, but I didn't get a chance. But one thing I kept thinking was that Leatherface walked so that Buffalo Bill could run. Anyway, neither here nor there at this point. But
Did you already do your food, Amy?
oh, mine was Texas chili.
Okay.
Mine was LOLOLOLOLOLOL because people, and then Texas chili.
Soap stuff?
I don't have a soap stuff.
I think Leatherface and Stretch's secret love affair is pretty soapy.
yeah.
Like he's hiding her in corners from his family
That's true.
so that he can keep their love alive.
There's just no big twist, I guess, or like secret identity or anything. Wearing someone else's face is this is like a very lo-fi version of on a soap opera when a character is suddenly played by another actor, so they have a whole different face and you're just not supposed to think about it. So I guess this is just like a very entry-level version of that. She's quite literally got someone else's
I would
face.
say the general vibe of the movie is pretty melodramatic.
It's true.
Yeah.
So that's soapy.
It's true. And it is quite a coincidence that Franklin's skeleton is just right there in the house where
that
Lefty...
scene was amazing.
Lefty calls him brother, and then I got so confused. And I was like, why did he say brother? I thought he was his uncle. And Kevin was like, I think he means like my brother in Christ kind of thing. And I was like, well, I just think that's a weird thing to say to your
Franklin, the
nephew's
fact-
skeleton.
The fact that he's still sitting in his wheelchair
Yep.
is the funniest part to me.
Yep.
It's like they put him intact in the
That's
wheelchair.
not where he
and then
died.
it's not where he died. They definitely chopped him up. So he's sitting there with his flashlight, like he was just raptured into this into this new location.
Yep.
But he did have a saw through the skull. You can see when they zoomed in on his skull, it was like in half and kind of weird.
Did you like the movie?
Yes, I loved it.
As always happens, I like things better after I talk about them. So, but I did like it. I do think it is actually a good horror movie, as goofy and campy as it is. And now I do kind of want to watch it again. Maybe I'll just when it's like super super gross.
You know when it's
I
coming
just
out.
made great radio. For the listener at home, assuming this recording works, I just covered my eyes. I will hide my eyes during these super gross scenes. So yeah, I liked it. I thought it was good. I thought it was funny. I thought it was smart for something as silly as it is. It's also quite smart.
Yeah, I really like it. It's the only movie I've owned on DVD, Blu-ray, and 4K. The craziness of it really works for me. I love Dennis Hopper not chewing but sawing the scenery.
He's literally sawing the scenery.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't like the kind of horny, dumb Leatherface because they're like, you've taken this just mysterious, menacing guy from the first movie and just made him a bumbling idiot. But I'm always of the opinion that sequels or remakes or whatever, they don't do anything to the original. It's like we still have Texas Chainsaw, and I like this other take on the dynamics and just kind of amping everything up and just making it weird and crazy and gory and silly and
And imagine if he wasn't silly with the other characters all being so silly. That would be weird too.
Yeah.
That's like you just want it to be a different movie.
Yeah.
I guess, if you're mad about that.
I think this movie works because I think everybody making the movie was in on the joke, right?
Yeah.
Like there are some movies that are bad despite themselves, and there are some movies that are like, no, we're leaning into this, and I think it's just sort of the secret sauce that makes the movie work, and I think it's hilarious, and it's got a lot of memorable lines, and Stretch is great, and it's just
Stretch is great.
I loved it.
And Bill Moseley built an entire career out of just like being like, yes, I'm going to go crazy with Chop Top. And like, I know what this movie
He went
is.
to
I know
Yale.
it.
The
What
guy
else is he in?
He's also he's in a lot of Rob Zombie movies later.
Oh, okay.
He was one of in Repo, the genetic opera. He's one of Paul Sorvino's children.
I love Repo the Genetic Opera. That is so good. We should do an episode on that. Add it to the list.
Okay. Is this Star Wars or Lord of the Rings?
Well,
I'm ready.
I have a real answer, but my real answer is that it's neither, because it's fried green tomatoes, because the secret's in the sauce. So you're making barbecue out of people. It is fried green tomatoes. But it's also Lord of the Rings because Lefty has to travel to Mordor to bring down an evil blight, and she ends up literally on a Mount Doom at the end.
Oh my god.
And casts him down.
You said, so I often do this. I have an answer for both. My Lord of the Rings answer is, where do the Sawyers live if not the Mines of Moria? Oh, not Mordor. I said Mines of
That's a
Moria.
good point.
But then...
That equates them with the dwarves, which I have a problem with, but that's okay.
Well, no, because they live in an abandoned, like they're in...
Oh, I understand what you're saying.
I don't think they're dwarves.
Dwarves aren't cannibals.
No.
To be clear.
I mean, I guess they could be.
No, the
okay,
orcs
but...
had taken over Moria.
They're the orcs.
Yeah.
Thank you.
They're the orcs.
Counterpoint to myself, the grandpa is obviously Palpatine. Somehow, grandpa returned.
Does that make Leatherface Darth Vader? Are the chainsaws lightsabers?
Well, that was.
This is Star Wars.
So I also had two. I said the obvious answer is it's Star Wars because it has chainsaws instead of lightsabers.
The obvious answer.
The obvious answer. And then,
well, actually,
we did not plan this, but I said, or it's Lord of the Rings because the Sawyer's lair is like if the Fellowship fell down into the mines of Moria with the orcs.
Oh my god!
You guys should date.
I know.
We should. Let's get married. What else?
That's it, right?
That's it. We've got 3 more minutes.
Questions? Comments?
Does anyone have a question?
Has anybody actually seen this movie besides us? Do you want to see it now? No. We have some no's and some yeses.
No's and some yeses.
I highly recommend it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if you are gore tolerant, then yeah, I think it's worth a watch.
Did we say anything that you wanted more information on? No.
I'd like to comment on the fact that you said that one of the best lines is that Lefty says, "You guys shouldn't have done that," about the murder of his family. But I'm just confused. Lefty is a Texas Ranger. Why is he saying "you guys"?
He might say
y'all shouldn't.
He might
have
just
done
say
that.
you. I think he might just say
Yeah, I
you.
think
You shouldn't have done that.
Done that.
But I agree. There was some inconsistencies in the accent and regional references.
They needed a cultural coach.
They needed a dialect coach.
Funny since it was written and directed by
Oh
Texans.
no, I don't know. Maybe you guys.
Slacking.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back and find the answer to this.
Regarding Texas, I do like that it takes place between Dallas and Burke Burnett, and there is no reference at all to where Burke Burnett is. And the way she says
They
it,
just know. People just know. People know that.
The way she says it, I had to look it up. I was like, what's she saying? She's like, Kay Oakland and Burke Burnett? And I'm like, what's a Burke Burnett?
A Burpernett? Burpernett.
Burke Burnett, which is apparently about 2 hours outside of Dallas, right on the border of Oklahoma, I guess.
Huh.
Yeah, Kay
you
Oakland.
go.
Yeah.
Geography.
Tune in, like, review, rate, and subscribe. Or
We
something.
are Hugo Girl. You can follow us on
All the things.
all social media at Hugo Girl Podcast. We also have a website, hugogirlpodcast.com. You can email us, hugogirlpodcast@gmail. We usually respond because we don't get a ton of emails, so usually there's time for us to respond.
It's
to
low
you.
quantity but high quality.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah. And thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.